Is it expected or unexpected, the verdict from the court yesterday?
The result yesterday was expected. It wasn't a big surprise to me at all.
Why is that?
Because we have seen many cases, for strong figures within this government, they always get away with this kind of thing, no matter what happens. If the government wants them, so then the government always find a way to keep this kind of figure. So this is a very kind of dangerous moment for Thailand and for the future of justice system in the country. When it is clear that what he did was wrong in Australia, and then if nothing happened to him, so that quite sad for the country, and this is one of the reasons that why we have seen that the big movement on Facebook was it a few days ago on moving the country. So
Right.
things happen like this. So with this kind of thing, is make people feel hopeless for the country.
You were mentioning a little bit that it's not unexpected because the government still wants him, right? But this is not by the government. This is a judgment by the court. Does that mean there's some kind of connection, maybe?
Yeah, it is a decision of the court. But I would put it this way. If the government want to uphold its integrity, they can change him, they can remove him from office, regardless of the court result. So it's proof that the government still want him. Because in many countries like Japan and the people who have this kind of problem, they actually take responsibility by resigning by themselves. But here, what I would say that if the government if the prime minister actually think that it is more important to uphold the good governance principle or the integrity of the government, then the prime minister should actually make a decision by removing him from office. But it's proof that he is staying on, so that.
So what are your thoughts on the reaction towards the verdict?
Reaction from people?
From the people, especially on social media, that have been criticizing about this verdict.
Yeah, but most criticism are actually from the pro-democratic movement, I would put it this way. So I think it's still sad because the pro-government movement, a large number of them are still finding reasons to explain this. So I think we need more kind of understanding or, neutral perceptions from the supporter of the government to have opinion on that. But it seems like they just ignore the result. It just ignore that Thamarat was actually doing something or did something wrong in Australia. And then he is not actually qualified to be a minister in the country. And this is a problem with a reaction from the supporter of the government. But for the criticism for the pro-democratic movement, I think that is what we have seen all along since the coup in 2014.
Would you agree if we are going to say that keeping or not keeping Thamarat on the cabinet, it's more on like a perception or the image of the government rather than anything else? Because if they keep him, it means there must be something he can do for the government or for the cabinet, like far greater benefit than have him gone.
Yeah, I think there are so many things behind the scene that we cannot say or we don't actually know perhaps. I think too many people is very clear that with his reputation, it is not good for domestic politics and international politics as well. But then there may be some reason that the government wanted to keep him perhaps that we don't really know what the reason is.
And in your perspective, how hard is it going to be for the Thai government or even for Thamarat himself to fix their own reputation? Because the backlash that we're seeing, whether it's on the international media or even people on social media, how hard is it going to be for the government to fix their reputation from now on?
I don't think it's too difficult for them to do that. judging from the case of Pravit with the watches. So then it would they can always find things to get away with it. So then I don't think it is a big deal for them to find somewhere to cover up and to to distract people from this issue. And especially under the COVID situation, now most people are preoccupied by the situation, like um, difficulties in their economics program or kind of thing that are actually happening at this moment. So then I think the government will find something to distract people from this, and then people will just get away with that.
So are you saying there's a possibility that the government probably not going to address this topic at all?
I think it is very likely because now if you can see the nature of the prime minister, when the journalists ask, and then he always asks journalists to shut up. So I think this is a problem with the prime minister. I would say that.
Okay. And going forward, what do you think the government actually should do? Really, I mean, they already keep him once, right? And there's a court verdict. Is there anything else government? I mean, if they have to keep him, is there any other compromising way of keeping him?
I don't think they should actually keep him, but like actually Prime Minister Prayut should actually uphold what he said to the public when he staged the coup in 2014. Because the very main reason or the very main argument for the coup, he said he wanted to make a transparent government, to get rid of corruption, and to improve Thai politics. But since then until now, we haven't seen anything happen. So by keeping him is actually confirmed that what he said was a lie. So then what he should have done, I think by get rid of or change get rid of Thammanat, that would be a big thing that would actually help to significantly improve his reputation and the reputation of the government.
Is there a possibility that this case would intensify the existing political tensions?
I think yes and no, but in the short term, that would definitely intensify reaction or angers from the public, especially the pro-democratic movement. You can see that. But I think this would be a kind of short-term thing. But in the long term, as I just mentioned earlier, the government can find a way to distract people and then move on. And then I think they will try to stay in full term. And it is very possible for them actually to do so.
Do you think we will ever get any explanation about this case from the government at all?
I don't think they would actually explain anything. I think they will just say that the court already made give you the result and they wouldn't provide any additional information. And they would just try to stay quiet and then, as I said.
So if there wasn't COVID, it might be even a bigger issue than it is now, right?
I think this is a kind of a very sad thing for the country. The prime minister should be a person who give all kind of explanation to the public. When people question the qualification of minister, question the work of the government. But in the past, we haven't seen this prime minister actually explain anything to the public. Right. I mean, reasonably explaining things with list of reasons, but he just never actually explain anything. So this is a problem. I think we should look towards a system like the British system. They have Prime Minister question times, I think every Wednesday, when the Prime Minister answers to the Parliament about question thing or what happened during the week. I think if we have that kind of political culture, that kind of the system force the Prime Minister to explain to the public, that would be a good thing for Thailand to make a move on its democracy.
So, the court verdict actually brushed off the legal process to take Thammanat off the cabinet, right? Mm-hmm. Is there any more things that the opposition or people that are not happy with this can do on the legal side of the story of these issues?
I don't think we can do much, as we can see that Wisnu always he always help the government to find legal loopholes for the governments and the minister to get away with that.
Right.
But I think what the opposition has been doing, at least even we cannot do anything with these kind of people, but it's still good to still keep people informed about the consequences of this, or about the the person or the figure that have a problem in the past. So I still think it's what we have seen is still important, even we cannot achieve what we wanted.